Hey guys, editing in here. I'm considering the stream and I was just editing it and doing those things. I think we're going to make this a real normal thing, a recurring thing. Speeple therapy, if you will. So for all you for all you beautiful people out there, I think it's time for us to consider in the chat, in the comments, what things we want to talk about. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the Discord and throwing in some suggestions when you get there. I look forward to reading them and doing them and talking about them because I think this time around we had a actually pretty good time and some decent therapy type speech. I think it was solid advice this time around. I look forward to doing it more with you guys. Let me know in the comments whether you agree. And as always, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and do all those things so that I can continue giving you all this beautiful content for you beautiful people. My goal right now is to get to 500. I'm sure the watch time hours will follow as always. I want to become an affiliate. I think I'd be good at it. And I'm looking forward to doing other things on stream and on YouTube for you guys. So enjoy the video and sit back, relax, and gain some wisdom. Not like I'm knowledgeable, but enjoy yourselves. Bye, you beautiful people. Good. All right, let's do this thing. Let's put this. Go to screen record, and then we're going to capture. We're gonna capture ourselves a nice screen. Geno content. All right, so we're on our Google Chrome. Here we are. As you can see, here's my list of videos. I did just recently put up my mainframe defenders video. If you want to check that out, it'll be very appreciated. And also, you'll see a lot more to this game than what I just put on there. You'll see that team I have from the beginning of when they came together, and me figuring out some of the things on there. It's a good game, I think. And right now it's like 77 cents on Steam because of the sales. Anyhow, here we go. I want to read this one first. So, let's hop in to the new things, of course. So, our first one here is an Am I Overreacting one. This one is Am I Overreacting? My girlfriend does as she pleases. First off, you hear that? I'm probably gonna have to drink something and get some tea here. Pretty good. And not nearly as much there. I thought it was just a quirk, but turns out it's just dehydration or dry mouth, I guess, which is probably a side effect of one of my drugs here. Anyway, moving on. Let's read this one. Am I overacting? My girlfriend does as she pleases. So I'm in a long distance relationship with my girlfriend, and she can't talk openly on call because of parents' restrictions. We're really desperately searching for jobs. We were talking one day, and it was a serious conversation. And she was getting offline and online repeatedly, so I confronted her, and she told me that she was applying for a job. There have been multiple such instances when she used to do the same offline thing, and then I snapped because it was a really important conversation, and the only point of contact that we had was chatting. She told me that I'm overreacting, but she should also understand that you should respect others' time also. And whenever I ask anything coupley or romantic, she just messages, okay. Am I overreacting? Very interesting. I think this is. I think we need a lot more context for this one. This is only 4 minutes ago? Okay, clearly we're not going to get much out of this. I think that. Yeah, how old are you two is the question they had. I need to understand how old they are and what situations they're in at the moment. I think that overall, a situation like this, where someone is one responding to you with stuff like okay whenever you want to do anything romantic with them, if this isn't something you've talked about before, you should probably talk about that now. This is if that's what you want to be like in a relationship, is how you want to communicate with each other. That's something you should talk about on both ends and be clear about. It's important. If somebody is responding in short messages like that, and it's every time you come to a certain topic, it's telling you something about their feelings on that topic. whether they're not ready for it or they don't care as much about that one as you do, or they're just shutting down for another reason, or they have anxiety which causes that, or trauma that can cause that as well. Whatever it is, if you care about this person, your girlfriend, and you're in a long distance relationship with her, if you care about her, you'll find out why she's doing that, and that's probably how she feels too, and doesn't know how to tell you. So things like these short okays are oddly enough ways that they try to hint that something's going on, which I absolutely hate happening, but I see it so commonly that I'm now making a generalization with all girlfriends that this might be a thing they're doing. It's probably not, but we'll see. And you said there were multiple instances where she's done this offline thing. Um, yeah, every time you gotta, if there's a pattern there, you're seeing it, you gotta bring that up to the foreground. You know, if you are having an issue with it personally and she's not, you let her know that as well. You gotta see where your priorities lie here. Whether you want somebody that actually values your opinion and respects your time the way you want it to be respected, or if you're willing to compromise a little bit. And in any good relationship where you're both growing and learning from each other, you'll probably have moments where you do compromise and talk about each other's time and relationship and boundaries and discuss them. The whole point is that you come to an agreement together. That's what the compromise is. You can say stuff like, I'll be here for you. You can still search for a job while we're talking. Just if I let you know that this part is, I want you to listen to this part, then you stop and listen to this part, and then you continue afterwards if you want. Stuff like that. Small concessions can go a long way in relationships. So find a way to do that. See if it's something you want to do. If it's worth it to you to do that, talk to her about it. If it's not, well, then the answer is pretty clear to you, isn't it? If you're thinking that this is something you have an issue with and you might be overreacting because she says you're overreacting, that just means she doesn't see it as important as the situation as you do. And if she doesn't, and you continue to see it as getting increasingly more important every time it happens and nothing's being done about it because she doesn't think it's as much a problem, then express that. If she doesn't accept that, then you have your answer. She's not going to accept that, and she doesn't want to change. She doesn't want to compromise with it. And in that case, it will forever be something you either are at odds against each other with, or something that you don't have to deal with because you don't have to deal with her anymore, you know? Um, there are some things in relationships that you just happen to not agree on. There are plenty of those things for me and my wife. We don't agree on some things, and we have different tastes in how we do some things, how we relax sometimes. I don't drink as much. I don't do as many vice things people usually do. But I'm more of a sensual person when it comes to relaxation. She could use like the affection and touches and things as well. But she's also used to doing other things like drinking and hanging out with people and talking. I'm more of a loner, and I'm clearly more of a gamer, and also just here for this and here for you guys. And I talk a lot, more deep conversations and things than would be done when somebody's more inebriated. So it doesn't always work out the same way. But we compromise, we talk about it, we understand how each other feel about it, and we respect it, you know? Uh, there's a lot more to it. People are nuanced, and people, no matter who you're going to be with, will have things that they don't want to tell you, or things that you have to find out, things that come up after you've been already compromising. It's just relationships, as I was telling my brother earlier today, are hard work. There's never a time when you stop working on a relationship or in it, even when you're married, even when you're engaged, even when you've just started. Sometimes when you just start a relationship, it's like you're both being the person that the other person wants to see, and you're not being yourself. You're not comfortable enough to do that. You're just putting on who you think the other person wants you to be. Like for people who are dating for the purpose specifically of marriage, it's like the person you're hanging out with right now is trying to be who you want to marry, not who they are necessarily, and not who they want to marry either. You have to figure out that You have to figure out what both of your views are on that marriage, who you want to be, who you want the other to be. If you can measure up to that, if you don't want to measure up to that, if it's not something you want, that has to come up in conversation as well. But at the beginning of a relationship, people don't usually consider that. So if this is a shorter had relationship, there's a shorter life on the relationship than you guys have had, then it's possible that at the beginning she wasn't bringing this up as much in your long distance relationship, and now it's becoming more of an issue because you see over time it becomes a habit that was slowly done over time and ignored when you said you had an issue with it. It happens sometimes, but the issue here is that you said this isn't the first instance of it. And I don't know if you said something about it each time. Now you're saying something about it, and if this is the first time, well, then bring it up again, and then again, and talk about it. Find a way to talk about it. If she says she doesn't want to talk about it now, you have to consider whether she comes back later to try and talk about it. Because that's something you have to consider in your relationship, whether the person wants to communicate with you. And right now, you guys are having a breakdown in communication. So, anyway, does she do as she pleases here? Yeah. And her response being okay for other things you want to do and talk about? That's a separate issue. Are you overreacting for what you're doing here and what she said you said to her? Because she was applying for a job? I'm reading it again. Hold on. I think. I don't know, dude. I'd say, personally, I don't know. I'm going to say you are overreacting. I know I don't usually end up saying this, but I think you are overreacting here because, well, sometimes people can't multitask on things, and sometimes the idea of working for a job here is more important. You don't know why she's desperately searching for the job on her own. Maybe it's because she wants to make enough money to come to you and stop the long distance relationship thing and move in or something. Because that's something that my wife and I would have dealt with before when we were long distance until a couple years ago. So that might be why it's important to her to get this job thing done, and for you to then dog on it and to say that she's not respecting you and your time because she's applying to jobs on and off call with you. Chatting is the only way you got to contact each other, and she's still doing it with you, which is still, again, this is one of the situations you might have to compromise a little bit. She's chatting with you and applying to the jobs. She's taking time to still chat with you. Either way, she could have just went offline and not done that if she totally didn't respect your time. But she's taking the time to talk to you, um, regardless of her doing her stuff. There are things in life where people have to do their own work and they also want to spend time with you. People try to navigate the lines of jobs and personal life and all those things together. And this is one of those times where she might be trying that. You have to think about it from her perspective as well. I can't speak for her, and you can't speak for her. So just talk to her. Take some time, sit down. You sound like you're overacting a little bit. It's important that you have time to talk when it's important. Situations like this one is. He says an important topic, to you at least. But you have to figure out, is it important to her? To what extent? Uh, why is she doing the job application? And how important is that in comparison to this topic? And then, do you want to communicate? Is the last question. After you figured all these things about her, about who she is and what she values, consider whether you want to continue communicating. Whether that means a relationship or whether that means talking about these topics or applying for jobs yourself, whatever. Consider. That's the major question that comes up in relationships. Do you want to continue communicating? And that is something, that is why I keep saying that you never stop working in a relationship, because do you want to keep communicating is the question you have to ask every time something happens in your life. And lots of things will happen in your life, especially with your partner or affecting your partner or affecting you. And it affects both of you at that point. So you have to communicate those things. And you have to communicate generally what you enjoy, what you want from each other, what you want for yourself. um, how you want to talk about these hard topics, all of these types of things. And I wouldn't be where I am now if I gave up. And I don't intend to anytime soon. And so we're keeping each other together. It's hard sometimes. And that's just how it is. Your relationships with your friends are similar as well. If you think about it, your communication with them might seem more casual and more easy to come by, but sometimes they're the people that know you most intimately as well. Not in the same way you'd want your romantic interest, though. So, if you want them to be even more intimate and even more vulnerable with them, then you have to be willing to communicate even more so with them, even more vulnerably, even more intimately. And that is something people don't usually realize when they're going into relationships and when they're in them for a while. Stagnation, complacency, they're the enemies of a healthy relationship, I guess. Um, Easier said than done. Always easier said than done. But it has to be done if you want to continue, you know? So that's my advice. You're overreacting. Get it together. Both of you get it together. Wisdom has been spoken. Now, let's move on to the other one. This seems like a topic I might have read before somewhere else. I don't know. This just seems to me like something people have done before already. But anyway, let's find out what this one is. Am I overreacting or is my boyfriend jealous of our baby? Let's see the context. Ooh, that's a bit of context. Alright, here we go. I recently just had my son about a little over a week ago. Hold on, that's not really. I recently just had my son about a little over a week ago, and his father has not been adjusting well, in my opinion. He really wants me to take more of a hands off approach with our son, and he doesn't like that I like holding him a lot, and that every time he makes somewhat of a noise, I rush to pick him up. Just small things like that. At first, I thought he was looking out for me, and I had a C section, I shouldn't be doing a lot, but I no longer think that's the reason why he gets upset. For example, uh, our latest big disagreement is that he hates that I breastfeed him. I don't know why. His reasoning is because he thinks that would make the baby clingy only to me. Well, I mean, what else is. Okay. Um, I really don't think he hates our son. I think he's having a hard time not knowing how to bond with him, and that he's just jealous that my son knows how to cry for me, is how he kind of explained it. I allowed him access to my bedroom cameras and nursery cameras to maybe make him feel like he's not missing out on anything, and he's still there, but still, I do think he's voice is gone by the way. I do think he's jealous of our baby, and I'm wondering if I'm delusional and it's not typical baby blues on his end. That's an interesting situation. That's my knuckle, by the way. So nice ASMR. Bro, I gotta see a doctor. Oh, anyway. Anyway. Based on this context so far, I have some questions, but I think it is also important to note that his concern is a valid one to have as a parent. I don't think this is something that we really talk about nearly enough. I'm not a parent, so I for one, I'm going to get that out the way. I'm not a parent, and I don't think I'm going to be for a few years. So I don't think I can speak for certain about his mental state here. However, from what he's expressed here, I can assume and speculate and intuit even. So I'll be doing just that. My idea here is that his concern, valid as it may be, is. Give me a second, I gotta drink again. His concern is that there is going to be a disconnect between him and the baby. ultimately because he doesn't spend near as much time giving it all the necessary and important things that you can. He's jealous that he's not jealous of your baby, he's jealous of you and your relationship with the baby. Um, Now, in the grand scheme of things, as far as I know, it doesn't really matter how it is at this beginning stage with the infancy and all these things. There are some things, some babies have that mental recall, most don't, and most don't even know outside of an innate feeling what things were like when they were babies in the first place. So, what you should be as worried about is, as a parent, be more worried when it's like 2 years old, 3 years old, they start forming memories and words and associations, and then you can start to see if they favor one person over the other. Right now, your baby's just crying for whoever can get them the thing they need as quickly as possible and the way they want it. And at the situation, that's you as the mother. Every time, you're the person that can get him the food he wants to breastfeed mostly. So you're the person he's going to call to if he sees them. And babies don't see far, notoriously. They can't see too far, and they don't know object permanence yet and all that stuff. So the baby's crying. It's what they do. They're crying. They need the attention. They're calling for the attention and the person and whatever else. And they need the food that you provide if you're breastfeeding them. I don't think it would make it any different if you were formula feeding the baby and you were taking turns doing it. Babies are products of nature as well as nurture. And naturally, biologically, the body and the baby's view of their mother throughout history, even before Homo sapien finality, was the view towards the mother was always more intimate than towards the father in terms of infancy, because of a connection that he literally could not have with you or with the baby, in being germinated, should I say, inside, or gestated. That's the word I think. Uh, Inside of the mother. So, with that being considered, there's absolutely no way he could have that same relationship at this point in time. That's something he has to realize. And is he overreacting? Absolutely. Is his concern valid? Absolutely. That's something you have to also realize in the situation. He might be being ridiculous here, but you can see where his concerns are coming from. And if you can't, I'm trying to let you know where they might be coming from so you can bring this up with him and figure out if there's anything you need to talk about. Seriously, sit down, talk with him about these types of situations, and figure out if this is something that has a deeper reasoning to it than just, well, is baby cry, you give attention to baby, I want attention, baby gets, which I highly doubt that is the result of it. Still, wisdom has been given. Now, that was my idea on just the contextual part. Let's find out if any of that was correct or if I'm absolutely ridiculously speculating. Let's find out. Objection. Let's read some of these texts. I think there's just 3 screens. Yes, just 3 screens. So I can read this on my own. Let's do this.
Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Every time I look at the camera, you're holding him.
Oh, lol. Yes, he's so cute I can't help it and he just lets me. I'm still in shock that he's actually here and alive.
My only issue is when he becomes that age when he's supposed to self-soothe, he's not going to be able to.
He's only been on this floating rock for a week. He can be spoiled with cuddles.
It's a week, dude.
We don't need to worry about him self-soothing until he's more closer to a year.
A year? Nah, we starting that at 6 weeks, lol.
Are you insane? That's way too soon. Wait, what's your version of self soothing?
We allow him to sleep in his room at night. It's been a week? It's been a week. I don't know. Do you? Okay, he didn't say alone in his room, right? I don't. I'm confused because I don't know. For any of you parents out there or anybody who's got any experience raising up a kid, regardless of being a parent or not, um, and those of you in the comments as well, viewing on YouTube's, is that normal? Because I feel like that's not normal. I don't know. Something in my brain is just saying that a weekend you shouldn't be leaving your kid in his room at night. I'm not saying that they were leaving him there alone, but I am pretty sure with the way this guy is like concerned about her holding him, that he wants to have more of a hands-off approach from her, which means less time with the baby, which potentially means less time at night with the baby for both of them. If not, he just wants to have some time on his own. Um, but again, if you know, let me know because I'm confused on that, and I feel like that's not really a thing you should be saying right now. But we'll continue. We'll continue on. How are you going?
Why does he need to start sleeping in his room at 6 weeks? I sleep a lot better when he's in the bassinet in the room.
Right, exactly. See, right, right. The bassinet is in their room, and he wants to at 6 weeks, so a month old, month and a half, I guess, month and a half old, put the baby in its own room. I think that's too soon. I don't know. Maybe you guys will be more adjusted at that point and ready for getting up and walking over to their room and stuff. But like at a month old, I feel like a lot could happen with a baby that's dangerous. Like they might start, learning how to roll and stuff like that around then. Maybe even do more. Maybe start getting. I'm not too sure. I don't know what the time frames are for baby things, and every baby I think is a little bit different on that. But regardless, I think that's a dangerous time to be on your own. It's unlike kittens where it's like the first 4 weeks or 4 months, whatever it was. I think it's 4 weeks where they're dependent and then they can do things on their own. 6 weeks is closer to that time frame, and I think still too early for a human baby altogether, because we're the ones that take a lot more out of raising than anybody else does so far in the animal kingdom, aside from like long-lived things. Anyway, moving on. Honestly, at this point, I feel like you want him to be mama's boy. Like you want him to be clingy to him, and I'm giving you tips to prevent that. If you cared about our relationship, you will have him sleep in his room.
No, what's actually happening is you're jealous of your son, which is insane, by the way. You genuinely get upset every time I have to do something for him.
This seems very familiar.
I'm not mad at you for feeling this way, and a lot of men have felt similar to you, and this can be worked through. I love you both so much, and you're both my priority. It's just as of right now. Blank requires more of my energy and time. I will still make time for you. It's just the adjustment period of getting used to him and getting routine going.
I'm not jealous. I'm just tired of you doing things with him without confiding in me, like I'm an absent father with no say when I'm not at all. I'm still honestly pissed that you're breastfeeding him when we agreed not to. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that this is going straight to. Oh yeah, great shadow ban things. I'm pretty sure this is going straight towards a piece of literature things that we have already seen in terms of like Reddit things. This is a pretty popular one, I'm pretty sure, with the whole jealous of the baby type thing. It's a little different at the front end, but I think as it's going on, it's going straight back into that. Also, he is your ghost bear, apparently. Maybe spooky bear? My spooky bear is what that it's supposed to be? I don't know. Um, Some studies that prove what he's saying has been false. You cannot spoil your baby and make them too clingy, which is good that they came up with some facts. Facts. Also, bum 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 bum. Right, when they're not given what they need, they learn they can't trust the world and develop attachment issues, so they don't want to rely on anybody, whatever else. Those who are loved and fed and comforted learn that discomfort, being hungry, or tired, or startled is not scary because it's only temporary and ends very quickly. So they can cope with adversity down the road. There's people who are more worried about babying their childs and doing too much for them. I mean, knowing that you have people you can rely on is an important thing in life. Whether it's now, whether it's with your siblings, whether it's with your work, whatever else, it's something we have to realize is trusting and relying on others is a key thing to existing in this world and doing things as we want them to, you know, in progressing in this world and becoming a better person. So, with that being said, not overreacting, he's still jealous, he's being ridiculous. But again, you have to figure out where this is coming from. He mentioned at the end that you're doing something that he said that you guys agreed you didn't want to do, which was breastfeeding. And it sounds like a separate issue that needs to be addressed first before you try to unpack this issue he has with the baby's needs. They're intertwined. However, they could be aggravated, much like an aggravating offense in law, because of the feeling of betrayal that comes about when you do these things that he said you would not do and you said you would not do. It's potentially something that's going to continue happening here and needs to be addressed separately. Whether you guys actually agreed that breastfeeding was not a thing, or if it's possible that you have to do the breastfeeding and you have to explain that to him, whatever else, a discussion or 15 is on the horizon. So, since you already got your not overreacting verdict, I'm going to move on to the next one. Oh no. That screen tearing was crazy. But apparently it was just on me. It didn't see on your stuff. Let's go with our potentially last one here. For at least the Reddit stream portion, which will probably be like another hour of Reddit streaming. Maybe even 50 minutes or so, 55, I don't know. Let's go for an hour, maybe even less. After that, we'll move on to, I think, Medieval Dynasty, and I'll show you that a little bit and chat while we're doing that. It's kind of relaxing, kind of not. Pardon my burp. Anyhow, on we go. Let's actually see what the context is. I want to see how many slides we have here. 4 slides. Decent enough. I can do that. Voices and everything. I'll try to find different ones this time around too. But here's the context. I'll probably delete this tomorrow because he also uses Reddit and I'm kind of scared. The messages are from 2 weeks ago and we made up, but it still lingers on my mind how he treated me and when he was in a bad mood. I just read that so wrong. I, 16, female. Hi, I'm 16 female apparently. Have been dating with my 2 years of online friendship. Let's call him Max. 18 male. Juliet law issues here. A little bit of susness. For 2 months now. At the start of the relationship, he was so sweet and he just started working for about a month now. He told me the workplace stress and exhaustion is taking a toll on him. And I noticed he doesn't talk to me as much unless I tell him that I want to talk to him. I try to support him emotionally, but he seems closed off sometimes, and it was making me anxious, so I often ask for reassurance. Oh, you know why you do it. That's nice. That's cute. That's a start. Uh, he told me he's working hard to leave his toxic household and to fly over here where I'm from, so he's working 2 jobs currently and is saving. But I think I overstepped and asked for reassurance while he just got off from work. Bad timing. I didn't like the way he was talking to me, but he became sweet after that. Whatever. We video called, so I'm not sure if it's worth breaking up over. It hurts my feelings that he used AI for something that's already doesn't require much effort, in my opinion. Oh Lord, that's a unique issue to have here. Uh, would it be overreacting if I want to break up with him over his reactions and effort? He's already saving up money to see me as an effort, so whatever I ask for more, like compliments, he would always remind me of how hard he's working just to see me. I feel like I'm asking too much from him. But if I break up with him, wouldn't that be cruel? I'll just say right now, just to get that out of the way, might be cruel to break up, but another cruel thing that you have to think about here is bringing up the fact that he's working hard just to see you, regardless of your need and desire for compliments, because it seems like that's caused by a separate issue. It's not a physical loneliness, it seems like more like an emotional loneliness, and that can also kill a relationship in the same way that physical loneliness and not seeing somebody face to face can do. He's looking for that physical face to face that will also give him that oxytocin, serotonin type feels, which will bring some more mental closeness with him. But you need that mental closeness beforehand and during the times when you're not around each other. It's something I had to learn the hard way, of course, in relationships. Again, I keep talking about these things like I'm an expert or something, but I got a good enough relationship, I think. Um, all right. So let's read through your text message. Okay, here we go. That's the fourth slide. I need to go back. All right, all right, all right. Let's think of some voices. Maybe a nice New York slash Bostonian accent for her, and then he'll get maybe a more Mickey Mouse-ish type thing. I don't know. No, I'll switch it around. She'll be more Mickey Mouse-ish. She'll be more Bostonian, I guess. Incredibly lucky to have someone as kind, beautiful, and genuine as you by my side. Just thinking about you making my heart feel lighter. I hope you always know how deeply loved you are, M dash, by me, and by the world you brighten just by being in it. It's more like a New Yorker, I guess.
Are you serious? You don't talk like that. That's so chat GPT. What the heck?
Bruh, you wanted this stuff. Yes, you wanted this stuff.
I wanted to know how you feel, not just empty compliments. You copy pasted that. Uh-huh.
Bruh, you females only want to feel special, not really like a person. Okay. You said you want to feel special, so I don't know. What else do you want me to say? What? She zoomed in on that heavy. Bruh. Anyway,
No, I want to know how you feel about me. I'm not with you because I want compliments or special treatment. You said you like me, and I like you too, but you're not really showing it, so I just wanted to know how you feel about me. But you don't even try. Uh-huh.
okay. I'll do better if you want. Lol.
No. If you don't actually like me, then just say that. I don't want to force you yourself to like me. I don't want you to force yourself to like me. I just don't understand why you tell me you like me but not showing it. Uh-huh.
Dead. I did. Bruh.
Question mark?
Learn how to read and spell. You're starting to piss me off. That's crazy. Bro, you piss me off so bad like you ask for stuff and I give it. Just saying because you don't like it doesn't mean that I didn't try.
Yeah, you're right. Uh-huh.
I told you I have mental illness or some stuff and you keep pushing my buttons, bro. Now I'm the villain.
No, you're not. I didn't mean to be inconsiderate. I'm sorry. I just don't like when you're distant, so I just wanted some reassurance. Frowny face.
And that, my friend, is the end of the chat. That is Yeah, they're kids. They're kids. That's stupid. But at the same time, let's try and actually address this as if they were the average person, and this is something we saw in an actual conversation and not in that of two ignorant and both damaged children. So let's discuss this from each side and see what we can come up with here. Okay, so he's pissed, right? Let's take the context part into account here. So to recap, even for you, wife, to recap what's happening here. Girl says she's 16, by the way. Girl says who's 16 and boyfriend is 18. I'm like Juliet Law issues here, but all right, whatever. Anyway, that's a separate thing. Girlfriend says they're in a long distance relationship, right? And I think they're in two different countries, I assume. Um, and boyfriend is currently working two jobs so he can get enough money to move out to where she is, because he wants to get away from his toxic house environment. And so they communicate and stuff like that, and she feels kind of like he's more closed off sometimes, and she wants to talk to him and stuff like that. They've been dating for 2 months, and she tries to support him emotionally, but he seems closed off, and it makes her anxious. So she looks for more reassurance, which, yeah, that happens, and that's, I think, a normal reaction, especially with some emotional loneliness that doesn't seem to be noticed. So you look for more reassurance in some other ways, for sure. Um, but she asked for reassurance one day when he was right off of work, and it was probably bad timing or something because he was pretty pissed. And so that's what ensued, I guess, the conversation I just read out there. And she asked for him to say something, I guess, say something reassuring to her, maybe. And the first line we have, I don't know if you heard before when I was reading, but it was, and I assume it's not the start of it because this is still lowercase, so they probably just cut off the first half of it and we don't know what it was. But it's incredibly lucky to have someone as kind, beautiful, and genuine as you by my side. Just thinking about you makes my heart feel lighter. I hope you always know how deeply loved you are, M dash, by me and by the world you brighten just by being in it. And she's like, "Are you serious? You don't talk like that. That's like so chat GPT. Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "You wanted this. Like, what's wrong with you?" and, so, and again, they're kids, so that's a stupid reaction, but one that I could see them doing. And then that's when the argument that I read out then occurs. Um, it was, in fact, very clearly ChatGPT, because there are some markers there that show that it was ChatGPT. The rule of threes, the M dash use, the random things, like kids don't know how to use those things, and no one actually writes like that in real life. So it's how you can tell, one of the ways that you can tell it's most likely ChatGPT coming from it. I don't know if she knows about those markers, but she probably just like, it's just so wildly out of pocket for his writing style that she figured it out. Regardless, regardless, that was what this is about. That's the story so far. So that's the context behind this. And so with the chats I just read there, he's working super hard, working two jobs. He's struggling at those things. It's pissing him off every day. And then she's asking for more emotional labor after he gets back from work and talks to the person that he cares about deeply. Now, is that stressful? Yes. Have I been through it? Also, yes. Is he overreacting? Also, yes. Are you overreacting? Also, yes. This is a big mess on everybody's side here. Um, yep, everybody sucks here. There's no winners. And I'm trying to think about how to give advice on this if it was anybody that was not a teenager. Let's see. So, as the girlfriend in the situation, you have to acknowledge the effort that is being put in, and it does seem like you did acknowledge this in the context texts that you wrote down on the bottom to go with this. You did acknowledge that he's putting in this effort and he does make effort for you, but you still are lacking in that emotional conversation and communication aspect, and it's weighing on you. And you did seem to bring that up with him at the end of the conversation. However, that was the end of the conversation, the literal end of the conversation. After he was like, "Okay, I'm done," and then you're like, "Okay, but I was just needing reassurance." That's after he made you. He already expressed that he feels like you're pushing his buttons and making him out to be the villain. So at that point, he's not trying to listen to you anymore because he thinks that what you're doing now is not in his best interest, and it's only in your best interests, and again, directly opposed to him, which is why he's being the villain. You wouldn't use that phrase unless you think that you look like an absolute malice filled person in the situation, and you don't want that. Um, yeah. So, you have to acknowledge that it was perhaps not the right situation to bring that up at the end of the conversation after a big argument to tell him, I just did this because I wanted reassurance. Because that would make, speaking from like my point of view, that would make me mad again afterwards. Because like if you know you're doing it because you want the reassurance, why didn't you say that at the beginning of the conversation instead of continuing and making him madder throughout the thing, and then extremely backpedaling as soon as he gets angry and expresses that he's getting angry, and then saying, okay, listen, we just drop it. I just want reassurance. Like, I mean, if you're looking for that underlying issue to be solved, you either address that underlying issue or you actually there's really no other way. So I mean, you gotta address that. You gotta address that stuff. And if it's not working in him working those jobs and communicating with you through these messages otherwise, then you have to consider some other ways it might work out for you to feel more emotionally connected to the person. Bring it up with him. See if there are things he can do. Is it more taxing to come back after perhaps physical and mental and emotional struggles at work to then talk to somebody else who wants you to take care of them because they feel distant? Yes. Is it because you're also doing something that makes them feel distant? Usually, yes. Um, and it's hard, probably, for him to figure out that next part. So he's probably not even getting there yet. So you have to, one, be patient, two, bring it up in a way that, as he said, doesn't make him look like the villain now. Because that's what he's worried about. And he's going to be unreasonable if it ever looks like that to him. Can't tell you to manipulate a dude, but you're both kids. That's kind of the only way you guys talk to each other at this point. Manipulations and crap like that. Um, I don't condone, but I can see it happening. And if you weren't kids, I would acknowledge that he said specifically, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that I didn't try. And that would express an underlying issue of his that he feels like he's not good enough in the situation. And it's probably not just about the kind of wording he's using here and using that chat GPT thing. That's probably more underlying the situation he's in at home and wanting to be with you and working the two jobs to get there, feeling like one job wasn't enough, feeling like him doing what he could to communicate with you wasn't enough, and now he can't even help you emotionally, and he can't help himself emotionally, and he's working super hard on all of it and very, very stressed out because of all of it. And then instead of working on that internally or bringing it up with you calmly, he's blowing up because he doesn't know how to handle it yet. And that's something you have to acknowledge happens just because of these. And you have to acknowledge that you have a hand in that. Um, Whether or not there's no blame to be had here on whether one causes the other, because regardless of who causes it, you both have to deal with it. And that's the point in a relationship. If you weren't teenagers and I was talking to somebody that's a little older that could understand this, and it has like a fully formed frontal lobe, prefrontal cortex or whatever, um, That's again, this has been a lot of today was that's the point of relationships, right? These issues happen. Pardon my burps, my God. Another one. And another one. Another one. Anyway, that these things happen, right? These things happen. We all have issues. We need reassurance. We're human. We need emotional connection. We need mental connection. We need physical connections. What happens in relationships is you're deciding, depending on your relationships, if it's just monogamous at that point, yes, just deciding that this person's somebody you want to have those three things with, regardless, right? And if you want those three things, you both have to act for it. You have to work for it. Again, at no point do you stop working in relationships. It's always hard. But at the same time, much like they say raising a kid would be, or much like you hang out with your friends would be after a long day of work or something, the most rewarding things in life happen during these times. Um, and it's satisfying once done correctly, and once you take the time to look at what you're doing and how it's affecting both of you, the people you become as a result, that's what relationships are beautifully about, right? Um, so if you want to have that type of situation in that type of relationship, then you have to put in the work to look at these types of messages, to look at how you're treating each other, and discuss it peacefully, as much as you can. If it's not something you can do now, you have to talk to them about your communication styles and how you want it to be, and write it down. If you before you even decide to talk about it, write it down. Write down what he does now. Write down what you'd want him to do. Write down what works for you in your life. What you've seen so far works for you in your life. Um, Put down some examples. Write it all down. Have it with you so you don't forget it, so you can review it again later in case something was wrong, or in case things change, or in case you feel like backpedaling and so you start trying to talk about it. Look at what you wrote down. Stick with that. Bring it up. Discuss it. Tell him to do the same thing if feels like this is a planned attack on your part or something, because he seems like the type of guy that would do that. So have him do the same thing. This is probably what a therapist would say at some point if they had like a couples therapy thing for both of you. They might say to do something like this and to share with each other and to come back and tell me what happened afterwards. So maybe I'll become like a therapist or something at this point. But maybe I'll just do that on a stream. Some community therapy for the speeple. That's what I'll call it. Speeple therapy night. Um, I'm actually considering that now. The whole just chatting things would be speeple therapy nights. Um, Come along with your questions. I gotcha. Come along with your overreactions. I also gotcha. Throw it in the Discord chat. I'll read it and I'll talk about it. It sounds like a fun time, actually. And I'm glad we had this chat. So, am I overreacting? Yes. Is he overreacting? Yes. That's your answers. Those are my verdicts. So let it be written. So let it be done. Boom, boom. Gavel has been hit. Honey, leave him. If he travels to you to be with you, he's going to hold it over your head and manipulate you to stay with him when he's showing right now that he's a toxic and manipulative person. Also true. He is toxic, but he's also in a toxic household, so it's not that it's understandable, it's that you can see where it's coming from. You have to make sure that he acknowledges that and where it's affecting him, and make sure he's working on that. If you can't make him work on it for himself, you can't make him work on it. He has to work on it for himself, but you can make sure that he knows. If he decides to ignore it and it leads to something like the end of a relationship, then that's on him, because at some point he's going to have to acknowledge and face the reality of that toxicity in himself. Whether it's with you or somebody else, he's going to have to do it if he wants to have a healthy relationship in the future. Or he could just hop into a series of toxic relationships that they're both acknowledging the toxicity and enjoying it in each other, and that does happen in the world. So, hey, you swing, you miss. Who knows? I mean, you tried your best. Anyway, if someone truly respects and cherishes you, you won't feel the need to apologize for asking for reassurances. Agreed. That was crazy, girl. You need to you need to look at that one. I've been a husband for 7 years, and sometimes I still ask for reassurances. It's true. It truly do be happening. I've been with my wife for more than 7 years, and we both still ask for reassurances. And you're only 16. You have plenty of time to find someone who would treat you right. I think you need to treat you right first, before you even consider that in the future. I think for both of you, a lot more self reflection needs to be done, and time needs to be taken away from someone you can potentially depend on in a relationship. Emotional and mental codependence is a thing. It sounds like you have it. It sounds like you need to deconstruct it. So please do that. Please do that. OP. Ornery Bad 922, please take your time and deconstruct these things in your life. It will only help you in the long run. It's hard at first. It gets better. You have plenty of time. You're 16. You got like 2 years at least before you before you have to legally worry about that. Thank you. This wake up call for me, and I haven't told anyone yet, but Reddit. That's already something you have to deconstruct as well. Don't tell Reddit everything first. Never tell Reddit everything first. You wouldn't be on this chat if you didn't, but at the same time, for your own health, mentally, physically, emotionally, do not tell Reddit everything first in the future. But I'm glad they gave you good advice so far. All right, Ornery. Good talk. Overreacting. Verdict. Given. And that, my friends, I believe was the last one I had queued up. We could have also watched some how to beat videos, but considering there is no vote for it in the chat right now, we're going to cue it off and pass it off to you guys there in the comments on YouTube. You can always send in the comments something that you want me to check out next time for one of our Just Chatting Man of the Speeple streams. Thank you for being here, all you beautiful people, and all my dingies, my yin dingies. Thanks for hanging out. Check out my links. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed yourself. I know I did, and I know I enjoy talking to you guys and giving these things. And I'll try my darndest to do it even better, I'll take your advice, and I will listen to it as far as I can, at least, if it's valuable. So, you watch yourselves too. Anyway, I'm chalking. Let's think about it. You beautiful people, take it easy. Yin dings, I'll see you guys in the Discord chat. The rest of you guys, if you want to join Discord chat, please check out the abouts in my YouTube profile, or come to my Twitch channel and then use the link that I should have in the links there for my Discord. Join it. You can submit things that you want me to look at. Submit stories about yourselves if you want to. Again, I would love to check them out, to read them, and to talk about them like this. I'm not gonna reveal you. I'm not gonna dox you for these things unless you're one of my mods. So I'm not gonna dox you for these things. So I'm here for you guys. I'm a man of this people. Thanks for chatting. I'll see you guys later, you Reddit lovers. I'm gonna move on to playing a little bit of Medieval Dynasty, or even cutting it. It's 7:20. I do need to eat something, and we don't have a how to beat video to watch at the moment, so I probably could just take the time off and eat, and then see how things are going after that. For those of you that want me to continue playing something else afterwards, feel free to let me know in the Discord and or in the chat afterwards. It's good seeing you. Love you guys. As always, remember, you're special, you're unique, and I'm about to change the chatting thing so you can see my face as I'm saying it. Give me a second. Hi, I'm back. Anyway, as always, we're going to sign off the way that we do, and the way that we do for you in person. So, I mean it from the heart. From the heart this time. As always, know that you're beautiful, you're special, you're worthy of love, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for being here, you beautiful people. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye-bye. Keep on moving on until there's nothing else to move on to and we're gone. Can you hear the hum of the hummingbird? Can you smell the breeze carrying leaves Daddy Lord. Can you cry for your mother and your father too? Can you breathe until there's no air left